My coworker whispered, "Don't answer your boss's call," but I never told him my boss was calling. I was sitting at my desk when my phone started vibrating, and before I could even look at the screen, he leaned over and said, "Don't answer it." I stared at him. "How do you know it's my boss?" He froze for half a second, then smiled and said, "Lucky guess." I answered anyway. My boss said, "Come to my office. We need to talk about yesterday." I looked at my coworker, but he was already pretending to work. When I got to my boss's office, he shut the door and asked, "Did you tell anyone about the missing files?" I said, "What missing files?" He turned his monitor toward me. Thousands of company documents had been downloaded from my account at 11:43 p.m. the night before. I had been asleep. Worse, the system showed my computer as the device that downloaded them. I immediately thought of my coworker. He was the only person who had asked to use my computer that week, but when I confronted him, he looked genuinely shocked. Why would I steal company files? Then he whispered, "You need to check something." He pulled up the office security camera from the previous night. At 11:41 p.m., someone entered the building using my employee ID. I couldn't see the person's face, but I noticed something strange. They were carrying my exact backpack. I hadn't been anywhere near the office. Then my coworker paused the video and said, "Look at the shoes." They were wearing the same shoes I had worn to work that morning. My stomach dropped. Someone wasn't just using my computer. They were deliberately making themselves look like me. Then my coworker said something that made everything worse. "I know who's doing it." I asked, "Who?" He looked around the office and whispered, "Your boss." I thought he was crazy until he showed me a second recording. My boss had entered the office 10 minutes before the fake me arrived. He had been planting evidence. But then I noticed one detail neither of us had seen before. The person entering after him wasn't wearing my backpack. They were wearing my coworker's. I slowly looked at him. He went silent. Then he admitted the truth. He had discovered my boss was stealing company files and had been secretly collecting evidence against him. He knew my boss planned to frame me, so he tried to warn me before the trap closed. But he had made one mistake. He had accessed the security footage from his own computer, leaving a record that my boss later found. That's why my boss called me that morning. He wasn't investigating me. He was trying to find out how much I knew. I looked at my coworker and asked, "So why did you tell me not to answer the call?" He stared at me and said, "Because I knew exactly what your boss was about to ask, and I was terrified he'd realize I had already told you." Suddenly, the strangest part of that morning wasn't that my coworker knew my boss was calling. It was that he knew because he'd been listening to the conversation before my phone ever rang.